Hi, my name is Daniel Miller and I work for NASCO. Today we're going to talk a bit about the Fair Housing Act and how it relates to cooperatives. The first thing to know about the Fair Housing Act and your co-op is this idea of a protected class. So what is a protected class? This is how the law talks about discrimination. In the US, the law deals with discrimination by listing different protected classes, and each one of those classes is a factor that is something you shouldn't think about in your co-op's membership decisions. There are 7 different protected classes in the US, and these are recognized everywhere throughout the United States. Those are race, color, nationality, gender, family status, disability, and religion. You may have other protected classes in your state or in your city. Each individual state or municipal area is allowed to protect more classes than the federal statutes allow. They're just not allowed to protect less. So these 7 are going to apply anywhere in the US. And the thing to recognize about these protected classes is basically that everybody is a member of a protected class. It's not about protecting one group of people but not another group of people. It's saying that these are traits shared by all people, and that these traits are not legitimate reasons to make a decision on whether or not somebody has housing. So you may have some examples in your city or in your state of what an additional protected class might look like. So some of the really common ones are sexual orientation or gender identity. It might be the number of occupants in a building. It might be the source of income for somebody who's looking for housing, whether or not they have veteran status or student status. And again, these are all going to be something that apply to everybody. Everybody has a race or a sexual orientation or an occupation. So these are things that are something that applies to everybody. It's that the classes don't recognize groups with more or less power. So one of the things that's counterintuitive about the Fair Housing Act is that it doesn't really recognize those asymmetries of power. So it doesn't protect groups that are marginalized more than other groups. It just says that these classes, these traits, are things you shouldn't talk about. So discriminating against a person for being white or straight or married is just as illegal as it is in other reasons. And so that's something we can talk about a little bit later for how your co-op might want to be sure to be inclusive of people who are marginalized and might have a hard time finding housing, but without violating the Fair Housing Act.